As a former 160th SOAR flight medic, I've seen what happens when security fails completely. Today, I'm showing you 5 perimeter security tricks that don't need power, don't need internet, and have kept people alive in the worst situations imaginable. These aren't gadgets, they're battle-tested strategies that turn your suburban home into an impenetrable fortress. What happens when the lights go out for good? When your 911 call becomes a scream into the void, and the person after your supplies is smart enough to cut the power before they even approach your building, your high-tech security becomes a monument to a world that no longer exists. Your real security, your first line of defense, isn't an app, it's your perimeter. The hallway outside your apartment, the yard around your house. This is where the fight is won or lost. Today we're not talking gadgets, we're talking strategy. 5 battle-tested tricks that turn your space into a fortress this weekend. Section 1. Trick 1. Adopt a defense-in-depth mindset. The single greatest mistake in personal security is relying on one thing, usually the lock on your front door. In a crisis, that's not just a mistake, it's a fatal one. The first and most critical trick isn't a piece of gear, it's a mindset. It's called defense in depth. The problem is viewing your home as a single point to be defended. The solution is to see it as a series of concentric rings, like an onion. Each layer is designed to deter, slow down, and expose an intruder. Long before they can even think about breaching your home, they must defeat multiple layers of your security. Here's how you start thinking in layers. Even in the city, your outermost layer isn't your front door, it's your environment. In an apartment, it's the lobby, the stairwell, the parking garage. In a house, it's the street and sidewalks. Knowing your neighbors, recognizing who belongs in the building, and having clear lines of sight are powerful barriers. They signal that this area is observed and its residents are aware. The next ring is your immediate perimeter, your property line, the exterior of your building, your balcony, or the fire escape. This is your first true physical barrier, and its job is to control access and eliminate surprises. After that comes the space right outside your walls, the exposure zone. For an apartment, that's the hallway right outside your door. For a house, it's the yard. This area must offer an intruder absolutely no place to hide and make it impossible to approach your home unseen or unheard. Only then do we finally get to the shell of your home, your doors and window sand on the inside. When you think this way, you eliminate single points of failure. You build a system where each layer supports the others. An intruder doesn't just have to pick one lock. They have to run a gauntlet of obstacles, any one of which could expose them. That is a deterrent no single gadget can ever match. Section 2. Trick 2. Weaponize your landscape. Your immediate environment can be your ally or your enemy. To someone with bad intent, a typical urban or suburban space is full of opportunities. Dumpster, provide cover. Poorly lit alcoves are perfect hiding spots. A quiet hallway allows for a silent approach. A tactical mindset uses the terrain to its advantage. You need to do the same. This is about turning the area outside your door into hostile territory. Your space was designed for convenience or aesthetics, not for a tactical advantage. The fix is to apply principles of crime prevention through environmental design or CP-TED. First, deny cover. Walk the approach to your home as if you were an attacker. Where would you hide? In the shadows of a stairwell? Behind that big decorative planter in the hallway? Near the trash bins? Any object that creates a blind spot near your entry points needs to be moved or accounted for. Don't give an intruder a private office to work from while trying to bypass your lock. These battlefield-proven tools are the perfect complement to a secure perimeter. When the grid fails, these are what keep you alive. Second, use natural barriers to channel movement. You want to dictate the path to your door. The most effective way is with hostile vegetation. Even in the city, planting dense, thorny bushes like holly or barberry and planters under ground floor windows or on a balcony is a painful deterrent that also collects DNA. Use heavy decorative rocks or planters to create obstacles that force everyone onto a specific path you have made visible and exposed. Third, create noise traps. That decorative gravel path, make it deep and crunchy. No one can cross it silently. On a balcony or outside a door, a few strategically placed pots or even wind chimes can act as a low-tech alarm. Anything that can be tripped over or makes an unexpected sound breaks an intruder's stealth. When you weaponize your landscape, you strip an intruder of their two most valuable assets, silence and surprise. You force them into the open and make approaching your home a calculated risk. Section 3. Trick 3. Master the illusion of force. In a conflict, you don't always need to be the strongest, but you must project strength. You want any potential threat to look at your home and decide the risk of entry is simply not worth the potential reward. This trick is about making your home the hardest looking target on the block, convincing criminals to move on before they even try. A dark, quiet apartment or house looks like an easy score. The key is to use visible deterrents that signal preparedness and consequence. It starts with the classics. An alarm system or security camera sign is effective for a reason. It plants a seed of doubt, regardless of the system's actual capability. A beware of dog sign is a powerful psychological tool. Intruders hate the unpredictability and noise of dogs. Lighting is your most powerful tool in this illusion. Motion-activated floodlights are not for your benefit. They're for the intruders. When that light snaps on, it floods them with adrenaline, puts them in a spotlight for all to see, and screams, "You are seen." Solar-powered motion lights are a superior choice, as they remain operational when the grid is down. Place them high to illuminate every entry point, your door, windows, balcony, and any dark corners. Think in terms of fatal funnels. These are choke points an intruder must pass through, like the single hallway to your apartment door or the gate to your backyard. These spots must be the most brightly lit and have the most obvious security measures. A camera, real or convincing dummy, aimed directly at this funnel sends an unambiguous message. The goal is to stack these psychological deterrents. When someone is casing your building and sees no easy hiding spots, thorny plants near windows, bright motion-activated lights, security signs, and maybe here's a dog bark, they aren't thinking about an easy score. They're looking for a softer target, and you've just won the fight without ever throwing a punch. Now, securing your perimeter is just the first step. In my most popular video, I revealed 5 urban survival tools that have literally saved lives in combat zones. Tools that work when everything else fails. These aren't gadgets from Amazon. They're battlefield-proven essentials that complement everything we just covered. Watch 5 urban survival tools that could save your life. The link will be in the description. Section 4. Trick 4. Build a low-tech tripwire network. Any defensive perimeter relies on an early warning system. Alarms and listening posts are placed far from the main position to detect a threat's approach long before they can cause harm. Your camera notification is supposed to do this, but it's dependent on power and internet. This trick is about creating a resilient, low-tech, and foolproof early warning network that's always on duty. A door alarm is too late. It only sounds when the threat is already at your last line of defense. The solution is to place simple, inexpensive alarms at your perimeter to buy yourself the critical resource of time. This can be brutally simple. You can rig a perimeter alarm with empty cans and fishing line, string a low-profile line ankle-high across a balcony, fire escape access, or a dark path. Hang a cluster of cans from it. When the line is tripped, the cans clatter. On a quiet night, that's a better alarm than any disconnected app. For a more advanced option, buy cheap battery-powered magnetic alarms meant for doors and windows. It's easy to rig one of these to a gate, a fire escape window, or even a piece of furniture you've placed as a barrier. When the gate is opened or the object is moved, the contact breaks and a piercing alarm shrieks. You can also get self-contained, battery-powered motion alarms that use an infrared beam. When someone crosses the beam, a chime sounds inside your house. There are even dedicated tripwire alarms designed to fire a loud blank cartridge when triggered. Placed strategically, these send an unmistakable signal that a perimeter has been breached. The key is redundancy. An intruder might spot one system, but they are unlikely to spot them all. That first alert from your outer layer buys you time, the single most valuable currency in any crisis. Section 5. Trick 5. Fortify your breach points. In any fortification, the final layer is the hardened structure itself. Gates and walls are reinforced to make breaching them a loud, difficult, and time-consuming task. At home, your weakest links are your entry points, doors and windows. This final trick is about hardening these breach points to make forced entry so costly in terms of noise and time that it becomes a tactical failure for the intruder. Standard doors and locks are designed for privacy, not to stop a determined attacker. Most can be kicked in with 1 or 2 blows. The solution is to reinforce them with simple, inexpensive hardware. Start with your doors. The deadbolt isn't the weak point. The door frame and the flimsy strike plate it latches into almost always are. Most are held in by half-inch screws set in soft pine. One solid kick splinters the frame. The fix: replace those pathetic screws with 3-inch hardened wood screws that punch through the door jamb and anchor deep into the solid wall stud behind it. Do this for both the strike plate and the door hinges. This single 10-minute change makes a door exponentially harder to force open. For windows, especially on the ground floor or accessible via balcony or fire escape, the threat is shattered glass. You can dramatically reinforce your windows by applying a sheet of security film. This clear adhesive film holds the glass together even after it's broken. It prevents an intruder from simply punching a quiet hole and climbing in. Instead, they have to make a tremendous racket while trying to bash their way through the entire sheet of filmed, shattered glass. Don't neglect sliding glass doors. A simple security bar, a door jammer, or a pin lock prevents them from being pried open or lifted off their tracks. The goal here is not to make your home completely impenetrable. The goal is to make breaking in require an enormous amount of time and create an unacceptable level of noise. Time and noise are an attacker's worst enemies. Let's put the strategy together. These are the 5 principles for turning your home into a personal fortress. First, think like a strategist with defense in depth. Your security is a system of reinforcing layers, not a single lock. Second, weaponize your landscape. Use plants, gravel, and obstacles to make the approach to your home a disadvantage for attackers. Third, master the illusion of force. Use light and other signals to project strength and make your home look like a nightmare to assault. Fourth, build a low-tech tripwire network. Create an early warning system that works when the grid doesn't. And fifth, fortify your breach points. Make your doors and windows so difficult to bypass that it's not worth the risk. True security isn't bought in a box or downloaded from an app store. It's a mindset. It's a strategy. It's about building intelligent layers of defense that work together to protect you and yours. By using these principles, you take back control from a fragile system and empower yourself to create a genuine, safe haven no matter what is happening in the world outside. Now that you've secured your perimeter, there's one more critical element that separates survivors from casualties: water. In a grid down scenario, your tap stops working, but the water sources around you don't disappear. As a combat medic, I've seen what happens when people run out of water in just 72 hours. In my video, Urban Survival Hidden Water Sources During Crises, I reveal the urban water sources that most people walk past every day without realizing they could save their lives. These aren't obvious sources. They're the ones that work when everything else fails. Check the link in the description below.